How do you balance all the things? That's the question for this video. How do I balance wanting to get promoted, want to be a senior or executive leader, an executive director, all while balancing work and home, right? So the spouses, the kiddies, whatever you've got going on outside of work, how do you make that balance? This is a question that I get often. So here's what I will say. You got to decide what's most important. And you're going to think that what's most important is all the things outside of you, but it's not. What's most important in this case is your commitment and keeping your word to you. And I know that that sounds probably selfish and it sounds counterintuitive, right? Because you're asking me about how do you manage work and how do you manage home life. But as long as everybody else is managing you, you can't manage everybody else. As long as everybody else is dictating what you do with your time, you can't get to where you want to go. You can't do the things you want to do. You can't do it how you want to do. You can't rest. You can't relax. You can't do it. Because everybody else is deciding. The kids, the babies that we dragging all over town to do all the things, making time for our spouses or our partners and whomever, making time for those of us in our 40s to care for our parents, making time for our boss who now feels the need to text us outside of work hours because email wasn't enough. It says you haven't, decided where you draw lines, so boundaries. And boundaries are not for other people, they are for you. It says you haven't decided what's most important right now, because if you don't evaluate that, you will feel conflicted. What's important to me right here, right now, in my 40s is not what was important to me in my 20s. And failure to reevaluate that puts you in a pattern where it's how many of us get into these 40s, into midlife, and are like, what the heck is happening? Because we are in a pattern, we're running plays that we ran in our 20s and 30s, and they were okay then. And maybe we adjusted when we had kids because we had to, but we haven't reevaluated what takes priority right now. And when I say what takes priority right now, I mean, what do you want to take priority right now? One of the things that I've had to learn in entrepreneurship, especially coming full-time into my business and leaving corporate, is that I have got to manage my time. I know that y'all think over here in entrepreneurship means that we can do whatever and we can be free. You can be free to decide what the hell you're going to do today so that you can make money or you won't have any money. You can be free to decide who you're going to support today. But the systems that you have in corporate, the systems that you need to manage your family, we need those too. And the skill is even more required, because if you don't, I'm not going to get a paycheck. In corporate, if I get missing, if I need a sick day, I'm still going to get this check, right? So as professionals, most of us are salaried employees. So we're still going to get paid with some PTO or whatever. Still going to move our mouse around while we, sniffling from bed, whatever, right? We still going to get that. You don't get that in entrepreneurship. So one of the things that it requires, I don't like the word discipline. I don't like the word discipline. It doesn't feel good to me. What it requires is for me to choose me. And so that means on days like today, for example, where my husband, who is in healthcare, works a 12-hour shift, I'm recording this video for you. And I'm being intentional about that because he works the next several days, so I will work the next several days. So that the days he's home, we do have time to spend together. We do have time to make meals together, to eat together. Not only that, my son is homeschooled. So my day is planned with, while he can be self-sufficient, he's a teenage boy, I gotta keep my eye on him. Right? But they're not dictating what happens in my day. I'm dictating what happens in my day so that I can show up as my best self to support not only you in making this video, my members inside of Confident Women Lead, my husband, my children, my parents. And it didn't feel good. I'm just going to be honest with you, to put these boundaries in place, because I would have told you that I wasn't a people pleaser. And at work, I'm not. I might be a perfectionist, but perfectionism is the sister of people pleasers. It just presents differently, FYI. But in my personal life, I am, or I was. And so everybody was just taking from me and pulling from me, asking me to do this, asking me for money, asking me to solve their life problems. The challenge with that is it means that they never build the skill to solve them themselves. And they are adults in many of the cases. And so while I'm solving everybody else, my siblings, my parents, all the other people, my children, problems, I'm unfulfilled. What I want to accomplish, what I wanted to get done. And then I started to feel depressed about me. And the way around that and the way to balance is to decide what's happening in my life this week. And it doesn't have to be, you got to plan your calendar down to a week. Some people that works. It doesn't work for me to do it that way, but if it works for you, but it does require that you keep your word to yourself. So things that I keep my word to myself for, that must happen for me every day. I'm going to walk on this walking pad under this desk at least 45 minutes. I'm going to journal. Before my feet hit the bed or before I check social media, I'm going to wait and thank the good Lord for letting me live to see another day. And I'm going to say my prayers and give gratitude every morning before I start. Because if I fail to do that for me and I fail to do it the next couple of days, it will change how I show up. I won't say I will get depressed, but I won't feel as confident. I won't feel as focused. I won't feel as intentional about where I'm headed and the work that I'm doing. I will end up in confusion. You confused? You confused because you won't make the tough decisions that need to be made. And as leaders, it requires us to make decisions. And the faster that we can make decisions, the easier it is to lead. And one of the things I used to say in corporate as a leader is people don't have to like the decisions you make. I prefer this. Typically, what happens is they'll respect it, but they don't have to like it. And that holds true for our kids, our family, our spouses. They don't have to like the decision. It doesn't mean that they don't like you. They don't have to agree. You only get one life to live. Make the decisions that make you happy. Find the balance in that, in the decision, and making decisions and ones that make you happy. Right now, you can't find balance because you won't make decisions. And then stand 10 toes down on those decisions. Whether or not they're right or wrong is for nobody else to decide, but for you. And we learn by making decisions. So maybe it's not the right decision, if that's what you want to call it, but you'll never know until you make a decision. So to balance work, life, family, make some decisions and make the ones that are in your best interest first. And then everybody else will fall in line. Everybody else will be cared for because you will be in a place where you have the energy, where you have the time, where you want to be present with them to do all the things that you really want to do in your life. See you next time.